Hello. Yes, I recently purchased the Indiana Jones 5-disc Blu-ray box set from your store, and how shall I put this? One of these is not like the other. No, I'm not talking about Crystal Skull. That is what it is. It's the movie on the fifth disc that doesn't seem as official. No, it's definitely a Disney movie, but I don't think it's canon. No, the content is pure Indiana Jones. Really more of a casting issue. Well, there's no other way to say it. It's full of talking dogs, and the explorer is a man in his early 70s. Well, yes, I believe Harrison Ford's also around that age now. Older, really? Yes, I see. You know what? I'm going to give it another try. Now that's what I call a sandwich. It's the Treasure Buddies watch along.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Everything Sequel Podcast's watch along episode. Well, this we're doing Treasure Buddies from 2012. God help me. Tom, you always surprise me. I never know what we're doing until maybe the day before we're doing it.
Yeah.
Usually it's most often a movie I have not seen.
Uh-huh.
Right? I think that's
and
right.
that's
No,
and
I
that's
guess
no
maybe
mean,
50-50.
That's no mean feat, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I have to work very hard to achieve that goal.
Yeah. Treasure Buddies, not on my list.
Well, I mean, direct to DVD has always got a better chance because you're a theater man, as we know from the podcast.
Indeed.
But yeah, here we are, Treasure Buddies.
Wow.
And yeah, it's at the very least, I'd say it's timely that we're doing this movie now.
Why is that?
Well, I made an offhand comment in one of our episodes that we did a run of series, I think from Halloween to through Planet of the Apes to Rocky, where we kept saying we're really spoiling ourselves. We should do something terrible next time.
That's true.
And well, the series that we ended up with might have been Punishment Enough, and that's launching right about this time, so we won't spoil that for you. But certainly, but I said we should do the Air Buddies movies or something. And
did you? Oh man, I don't even.
Yeah,
remember
I just said that offhand, and that that's set the brain working.
That's
but
great.
Also over kind of from over fall and Christmas, my son, who's 4, nearly 5 now, has been watching the Buddies franchise on Disney Plus, and just one after another. You know, he sees the poster on the on the little screen on Disney Plus, and he tells me that's the one he wants to watch, and we just work through them. So to say I'd seen this movie prior to watching it yesterday is a little bit of a stretch, but I heard it over my shoulder whilst preparing my son food.
Right.
So I when you see the movie, you realize you can get the gist of the movie just from that kind of viewing mode, for sure.
You're fine. Yeah.
From an entirely audio perspective, you can still understand what's going on in this movie. So yeah, but it's also the 10th anniversary of the release of this movie when it dropped onto DVD.
Dropped
onto DVD. So this is a celebration of that. So if there was ever a time to do Treasure Buddies, and I acknowledge there may never be a time to do Treasure Buddies, it's today.
Well, and I have to assume that it hits all of our criteria. Yes.
Yeah. Well, and I suppose the other aspect of timeliness is that we would do an Indiana Jones movie this year, which
right,
will not happen, and I suspect will also not happen next year, but we're told it will.
Yeah. Just have to assume at this point.
And this is
were we ever told that it was going to be last year?
This year.
I thought maybe at one point it was also going to be last year.
Yeah,
well,
absolutely.
I mean, by last year I meant 2020,
which is not last year. But yes, I understand what you mean. Yeah, but that movie's now in production, and this is this is as much an unofficial entry in the Indiana Jones franchise as a national treasure or a Sahara or something like that, you know. Yeah, no, absolutely. It meets all our criteria. It's a sequel that's very difficult to categorize, that would be hard to do for numerous reasons on the podcast proper. It's a spin-off of a spin-off of a sequel,
I'll say.
which is about as complicated as it gets, I think.
I gotta tell you, I looked up Treasure Buddies.
Yeah.
I'm on my phone right now. I'm looking at the director's work.
Oh, right.
Wow.
Okay.
This director is almost exclusively working with animals
Well,
for over 20 years.
I hate to break this to you, Michael, but this movie is mostly animals. So getting someone who doesn't have that experience makes no sense.
I've never even heard until just this second of MXP.
I don't even know what the arrangement of letters means.
A third in the trilogy, because his first movie was MVP, Most Valuable Primate.
Of course.
I can tell you for certain that's a How Dare You movie. I remember nominating it for something. There's an MVP. There's an MVP2, Most Vertical Primate. And then there's MXP, Most Extreme Primate. Extreme, of course, missing the E. As in like extreme sports.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, this is
But I mean, air buddies, snow buddies, spooky buddies, super buddies, Russell Madness, Monkey Up, Pup Stars. There's a lot of we're tackling Pup Stars at some point, apparently.
Well, you're gonna see that this, you know, if dogs and monkeys is this guy's thing, then this movie makes total sense.
Boy, is it ever!
This is as much a monkey movie as it is a dog movie. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that now.
All right, then.
It does not discriminate. Well, it does actually discriminate against animals. Cats.
Oh, good.
Cats are the scapegoats of this movie.
I'm okay with that.
Well, you'll probably enjoy this movie then. I found I found it offensively racist towards cats. This is anti-cat propaganda, Mike. But
by the way,
go on.
Well, I was gonna say, I can't remember what I was listening to the other day, but it had to do with, you know, people with Instagram pets, famous Instagram pets, and was sort of begging the question, like, what happens when your famous pet dies? What is an owner to do? And apparently there's now a place that can clone your pet. And then they said dogs are $50,000 and cats are $30,000. So in my mind, I was like, okay, so the debate is settled.
Dogs are better
via
than
capitalism, dogs are better than cats.
I bet there is a certain type of cat that is more expensive than a dog. I have a feeling that there are some
like a Bengal tiger.
No, I think that I bet that that's a ruse, and that there's like an elite category of cat clone that is like more expensive than all of them combined. But just to break down the series that this movie belongs to.
Yes, please.
So it started with Air Bud, movie about a non-talking dog,
but plays basketball, right?
Yeah, that's right. And there were 5 of those movies in total, 4 sequels.
Wow.
It was then spun off into Air Buddies, which focuses on Bud's
jumping
puppies.
Out of airplanes, parachuting.
No, Bud's pup. It's the same movie, but with Bud's puppies.
Okay.
So they spun it off by, you know, the next generation, essentially. And there were 6 of those movies, 6 Buddies movies. No, actually, well, 6 themed. First of all, 6 themed spin-off movies, So, this is Treasure Buddies, which is, archaeological adventure. Spooky Buddies, Space Buddies, Super Buddies. They all have like a hook or
So
a theme.
essentially, we could do each of those as a watch along.
We could, however, we won't. And and today is like accounting for the fact that we never will. That's all this is. But that's not where the story ends, because Santa Buddies, which is a Christmas themed buddies movie, one of the 6, was then spun off into a trilogy of Christmas based buddy movies. And if you go on Wikipedia, the first thing it says about the 2 movies, the 2 Christmas movies spun off, which are called Santa Paws and,
of course, I could have told you that before you even mentioned it.
Santa Buddies is spun off into Santa Paws and something else Paws. It says these are prequels to Santa Buddies.
Wow. What?
I mean, I didn't really think there was a need to make the timeline so specific, but in this kind of a movie, but apparently there is. And actually, when you watch Treasure Buddies, you'll see that they're pretty particular about their timelines. There's no Halloweening of this one. It's there's no Rocky IV to Rocky V here. It's they account for everything genealogically in this series.
Wow,
it's really funny. So
they pay more attention to timeline than, some of our recent watches, like Planet of the Apes.
For sure.
Wow.
Even in the animal movie genre, they're ahead of Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, well, we've got all our dogs.
We've got all our dogs here, yes, and dogs and monkeys, and I've got a snake over here as well.
Fantastic!
We will see a snake voiced by a famous improv comedian.
Oh,
I won't spoil that for you. It's one of the
Mockery.
delights of the movie, which tells you everything you need to know about the movie. But so Treasure Buddies.
Well, and we should let people know we are watching this on Disney Plus.
Yes.
So for watch along purposes, like the other criteria,
and I just want to mention the other criteria we have, which is that we are the emotional support animals, literally the service dogs,
as always,
of these movies, and we're here to compensate for the fact that this is direct to DVD. It's aimed squarely at a child audience, so it's hard to watch for adults from that perspective. But also, given where we are in the franchise, we're 6 films deep into the spin-off phase of the series.
That's
so
crazy.
I really do not recommend you watch these movies in any other context than what we're doing today.
Than with us,
unless you have a kid and he's forcing you to do it, and that's fine. But I think it was the Indiana Jones of it all that convinced me to do this one above the others, because it's like an extra layer of sequeldom.
Yeah, right.
To add to this this movie that is already deep in the weeds of sequeldom.
We could do that, and maybe we'll do that one episode of Magnum PI where he's somehow becomes Indiana Jones.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Which is interesting because
from the original series, like with Tom Selleck, because he was originally,
must have been,
of course, cast as Indiana Jones and couldn't do it because Magnum PI would not let him out of his contract, and so
that's how they got Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah,
but I mean, history made up for that. But that's how he was Remington Steele. They wouldn't let him out of his contract, so he couldn't play Bond until they let him
later.
Play Bond.
Yeah, until he did.
Until he did. That's interesting. I always thought that the only, it's another Disney reference. I think is the Chip and Dale Chippendale Rescue Rangers were dressed as Magnum PI and Indiana Jones. The costumes for Chippendale Rescue Rangers in the cartoon. One of them was dressed as Indiana Jones and one of them was dressed as Magnum PI to make reference to the fact that it could have, well, I don't know if Harrison Ford was ever considered for Magnum PI, but I also want to mention a returning favorite, I guess, in the watch-alongs. This is the year anniversary of our Texas Chainsaw 3D watch-along.
Oh, is it?
Also starred Richard Reel, who is the explorer in this movie.
Oh, fantastic.
You know Richard Reel. I mean, you must do. You watch movies in the 90s, so you must know who Richard Reel is, yeah. But of course, he has a connection with the Indiana Jones franchise in that he was Harrison Ford's jailer in the Fugitive.
Mm-hmm.
And in this movie, he's essentially playing, I was going to say a geriatric version of Indiana Jones, but that's Indiana Jones now. So he's just Indiana Jones. And that theme of this is just Indiana Jones, like undisguised, will recur throughout this movie.
One of the great mustaches, Richard Reel, I say.
I know, often confused for Wilford. When I put this up on the Indiana Jones Minute Listeners Crusade Facebook, he was immediately mistaken for Wilford Brimley, and I had no, it's Richard Reel. It's a whole different category of mustache. So, but it I mean, you know, I made the joke in the little intro bit, but if you look at Richard Reel in this movie, first of all, this is 10 years ago, and you're like, this guy's too old to be playing this kind of part. And Harrison Ford is a good 5 years older than Richard Reel in real life. And he has yet to finish playing Indiana Jones in a movie. As like, you know, the great podcast of Jim O'Kane said it, if they don't start, you know, hurrying up on production of Indiana Jones, it's going to start with an in memoriam.
Yeah, right. I mean, you know, that guy's not going to stop flying his plane. So we got to be careful because he could crash and die at any moment. Right. As of right now, he just keeps crashing without dying. But
yeah. you think if he happens, I really hope he doesn't, because then we'll have to take this off YouTube. But if Harrison Ford dies in a plane crash, do you think at his funeral they'll do like a video in the style of the Indiana Jones plane montages?
oh, no.
Like a reenactment of his crash, but with red lines going
over Burbank,
and then it just stops in midair.
Fuck.
But I got to also say, I want to alert you to the 2012 of this all, because you're going to encounter some latent racism and sexism.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
That you might not be expecting from a movie. I mean, this, you know, it's interesting. They were talking about this with Gawley and Rust recently. It's like how different our films have Hollywood movies been in the past 10 years? Like, has there really been a huge difference from like 2011, 12 to now?
Yeah.
And aesthetically, especially because it's like direct to DVD, which is has its own kind of aesthetic, shall we say. You don't sort of think that this is quite as old as it might be, but in terms of content, in terms of representation of both animals and humans in this movie, you realize that, you know, nothing was off limits 10 years ago.
Yeah, right.
And another historical FYI, which occurred to me midway through watching this movie yesterday. I sort of, because this movie's set largely in Egypt.
Okay.
And in my mind, I was going, Egypt, 2012. Why does that seem significant? And of course, I looked it up. Yeah, we're right in the heart of the Arab Spring.
Dang.
And there are several moments in this movie
goodness.
that demonstrate the need for the Arab Spring. And I suspect one moment there might even be an allusion to what's going on in the Middle East in 2012.
Wow.
Yeah. So that those you're gonna like taking yourself in and out of that historical context is going to be a big part of this movie. I there are aspects of this movie that even 10 years later I don't think they would go unchecked at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm excited.
But it's all on, it's all on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Disney won't put Song of the South on there, but it'll put stuff like this up.
But Treasure Buddies, fair game.
And what's the other big? It was pointed out to me recently is that the Lady and the Tramp with the racist cats, but also that's up there on Disney Plus, and also the Aristocats, which I believe has like why is it always like anti-Asian racism? Has a similar kind of like a musical number, which is all kind of East Asian minstrelry.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting to me, like, what's the big deal about Song of the South?
Because, yeah,
if you've got that on your platform, just put it up and have that woman from TCM come on and say, "Look, this is," like
this
which
was.
she does. She did that with Blazing Saddles, which I thought was gratuitous. So, but I'm happy for her to pop up at the beginning of Lady and the Tramp and going, "Kids, okay, this is not okay.
It's not all right.
I don't want to see you doing this with your kid friends at school."
Now enjoy the film.
But it's good. But it's good. I don't want you to miss out on it, but I also don't want you to take it too seriously.
Right.
But I don't need that fucking Blazing Saddles. Come on.
Yeah,
that's
right.
where I mean, it's like that movie answers its own racism.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, Gone with the Wind doesn't. It's black people do not chase chickens that way, or at all.
Or at all. Thank
the only
you.
People who do that is Sylvester Stallone in late 70s
I was just gonna say,
movies.
The only person who chases chickens is Rocky Balboa.
Now I'm thinking that was a Gone with the Wind reference.
He needs grease.
Greasy fast.
He needs
speed.
Greasy fast speed.
Now that's great, because now listeners get a visual representation of what it looks like when we do the Mickey impersonation. Right. because you can't do it without turning your face into Burgess Meredith.
Yeah, you must.
It's like
you gotta
you can't do this impression out of the side of your mouth. It has to be like in the face, or the voice doesn't come out.
I almost immediately followed it by "It's colder than a witch's titty out here."
It's like when you see Hank Azaria do Chief Wiggum, and literally his face shifts from one side to the other, and you're like, yeah, you can't make that noise without turning your face, without splitting your jaw from the rest of your
right cheek over.
And that's why he's a voice acting genius.
Right.
A standard of voice acting genius you will not witness in this movie.
Noted.
But you will certainly get some interesting voice acting choices, I shall say, which are not unconnected to the theme of racism that we just discussed.
All right. I don't want to hear Colin Mockery or Ryan Stiles be very racist. It's got to be one of those two guys, right?
Ooh, you're the Sherlock Holmes of 90s improv TV comedy. Of course it's one of those two guys. Wow, that's impressive though. That's impressive. Yeah, of course it's one of those two guys.
All right.
But I won't spoil it further than that.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm ready. Are you ready?
Yeah, I cannot. I mean, I wish I could prepare you more, but I can't. We just got to do it.
We you never prepare me at all. You just spring a trap on me.
Yeah.
And so I don't prepare at all.
But then I put it
in
context.
I feel as though we have prepared the audience as much as humanly possible.
I put it in a geopolitical historical context. What more do you want?
We've done our jobs.
That's right.
All right. All right, ladies and
I've done a
gentlemen.
better job in contextualizing the Middle East than this movie has.
Yeah. And we don't have to deal with TV commercials such as we did for the whatever that latest Hellraiser was that we watched.
Revelation.
Yeah.
Which it was not.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are on Disney Plus.
Again.
We are watching Treasure Buddies from 2012. Tom, this movie's an hour and 36 minutes. I'm already offended.
That is I want to talk about that at the end. I think
bunch of bullshit.
I think they've alienated any conceivable audience.
How dare this movie not be 85 minutes? All right. I'm counting down. Here we go, everyone. In 3, 2, 1.
We're gonna have to watch this Disney logo for a while.
Yeah.
It eats up so much real estate. This is why the movie's 136. It's like a mini movie in its own right. It's also not the same when you don't have a kid there to go, look, it's Disneyland. That title
straight to title.
That title looks like you put the words Indiana Jones into a clip art search engine.
Yeah, but it also, this music is sounding very Aladdin.
Probably is. Probably.
I wonder if that's a set.
We're straight in with the Raiders imagery. I tell you what it also looks like. It looks like young Indiana Jones.
Yeah. Oh, that's very Indiana Jones.
Yeah. The Arabic market and the mischievous monkeys stealing things.
Is that a miniature mummy?
You see, I think they think having the monkeys do the Middle Eastern accents makes it less offensive. Whereas we know now...
I really was kind of flummoxed right there.
Whereas now we know it makes it 20 times more offensive that it's monkeys doing it, not people. I have to say the kid is doing a better job at a Middle Eastern accent than his uncle, Babby.
You're right.
He sounds less like, a minstrel. This scene also reminds you that lip syncing is optional in the Buddies movies. I don't know what they've done to these monkeys' faces, but it's fucking terrifying watching them talk.
It's reminding me of Marlon Brando in, I think, his last movie, The Score, in which the last time you see him, Robert De Niro has gotten away and Edward Norton is caught and he smiles.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently he would not smile for the camera. And Frank Oz had to put a digital smile on Marlon Brando for his last shot on film ever.
Wasn't enough time, Michael. Wasn't enough time.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Oh, yeah, we're straight into Raiders of the Lost Ark. This is our first ersatz indie. I think he's a couple of rungs below Fedora from Last Crusade.
Yeah, it lacks a little bit of the production value of Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah, I think the kids who remade Raiders shot for shot did a better job of recreating this scene than they did here.
Too dangerous. What kind of adventurer are you?
The
dog is braver than you.
I love how the music is deftly dodging the John Williams copyright.
Yeah, exactly.
Every other note from that score. But it's all Disney now, so I guess it wouldn't be an issue.
I guess it wouldn't matter, right? But it's
they invest a lot in this flashback
I was gonna
narrative
say,
structure. It's not like the usual lazy flashback monologue stuff that we normally encounter. It's take it really seriously.
I thought we were just gonna start the story. I really didn't think we were gonna go back.
Oh, we
to
go
the
back
monkeys.
a lot. It's a split narrative.
Now, are these all the Airbuds?
Yeah, this is the first time they're being introduced. We'll get it like every 10 minutes. They'll be
There he
reintroduced.
is.
Richard Reel.
Real, bringing the Richard Reel
This also
magic.
gave me mad young Indiana Jones vibes, because this is how the series started, with a geriatric Indiana Jones lecturing kids in a museum. That's how the pilot started.
Right. Wow.
What do you think Butterball's going to have to encounter later in this movie?
Head vampire.
I was going to say, I think the bad guy just walked in. Something about his Gestapo-like uniform, and
I'm lucky that Lady Chu will never watch this, so I've yet to ruin my story about Head Vampire with her. I came very close once. Anytime I'd go to a movie and see Edward Herrmann, I'd always yell Head Vampire, and whoever laughed, you knew that they were on the same page with you.
I mean, even the storyline is Raiders of the Lost Ark. Like, it's like this one half of or Last Crusade, like one half of a piece that they've got, and they have to extrapolate from there.
I hope it's an archaeologist and not a grave robber. Somebody's gonna have to tell me what the difference is.
Well, we have both here, but the grave robber is the villain.
Gotcha.
Unlike I guess that's the huge big difference from the Indiana Jones franchise, is that the hero is both a grave robber and an archaeologist.
Yeah. I guess we're banished.
This is a very canine-centric version of history. I just wanna... This is the anti-feline propaganda I was talking about.
I'll say that music changed abruptly.
I mean, this movie's already demonstrated that there's no cultural appropriation problems because of the monkeys, but I just want to say that
oh my.
B-Dog is voiced by a kid called Skylar.
Kid called what?
Skylar. A white kid's called Skylar. Just wanted to put that out there.
That
Man who
sounds
speaks
about
exclusively in rap slang.
Oof.
I love the
all
way
these dogs belong to this little boy.
Yeah, they're the Air Buddies. I love the way they keep cutting away to the dogs as if their expressions tell us anything. They're just these vacant dog faces that are the majority of the visual storytelling in the movie, but meaningless. Here we go. We're back.
Oh my God, crying out loud.
We're back in Babby's.
So what are they doing here? Are they going for Princess Bride?
Princess, as it goes on, it changes. Right now it's Princess Bride. Later it will become Rashomon, and at the end it's The Usual Suspects.
Evil.
Did I say Wellington? I meant Donovan from The Last Crusade, don't you know? Except he's actually British, unlike Julian Glover, who was pretending to be American. I guess that is a big difference from Indiana Jones. They don't they don't solve the narrative problem in minute 9 of the movie.
Minutes.
Well, I don't know. Maybe in Crystal Skull they do. I gotta say, this is where I'm grateful that we have 2 strong character actors heading up the human cast of this movie.
Right.
Because I could watch these 2 do this stock dialogue all day long.
I don't mind killing 2 people, including 1 child.
I'm definitely not evil.
I'll have to find a dog sitter, obviously.
Fortune and glory.
Yeah, right.
And glory.
Fortune and glory. At least he didn't get himself poisoned in the first 9 minutes. You've convinced me.
Yeah.
Fuck all these dogs. We're leaving.
Well, one thing I've learned from the Buddies movie, from like listening to the Buddies movies over my shoulder whilst preparing food, is that they have to the human and animal cast have to be separated at an early point in the story. That's the only way these movies work. I assume because you can't have humans around when the
Oh, wait a second. Who's that dad? That dad looks like the guy from the Hurricane Heist.
You know, I'm gonna go and say I think that's a little too rich for his blood. And there's also fluffy puppies to look at. That's the other big compensation. As an early Phoebe Waller-Bridge reference there.
Wait a second.
What?
Am I wrong? Is that the guy? Is that Lucron? What's his name? Lachlan Monroe, the guy from Unforgiven.
No. The kid from Unforgiven?
Oh, maybe not. This says Texas Slim.
Mike, you're missing the whole story.
Oh, I'm very sorry.
So the buddies have decided to stow away. And they just sort of walk to the
because
airport.
They know that he's evil.
Yeah, the cat just straight up said, I'm doing this so I can create a feline dictatorship that will rule over dogs.
Yeah.
I love how 1930s looking plane they're getting on.
Right. I also like that they're explaining to each other what the audience already just heard 2 minutes ago. So they're calling themselves team buddies.
Yeah. Team buddies.
But they didn't call themselves treasure buddies.
No, that's the theme of the movie.
Will they call themselves treasure buddies later?
No. It's not how it works. It's like Clifford, it's like the Clifford books. It's like, here's Clifford is a big dog here, Clifford is a big dog there. It's the same. It's like they're buddies in Egypt, they're buddies in space, they're buddies in. What do you think? What do you think we're about to see, Mike?
Oh, we're gonna see the map.
It's almost a given by this point that we're gonna see like
Wow.
the Indiana Jones map, but what I love is the cosmetic attempts to disguise that that's what it is. It's like,
Mhm.
no, this is a yellow line, and the font is entirely different. Kind of take, I don't know, it's a lot of balls to sort of rip off this iconography before Disney even purchased the franchise.
Yeah, right.
Here we are. Two Middle Eastern guys, one to eat and one to greet, because that's literally all we know about their culture. Food and stuff we saw in movies about terrorists.
Yeah, I think that guy was the kid from
Oh,
Unforgiven.
I mean, have you ever seen a falafel that looked that terrible? Falafel's the most delicious thing in the world. It's like, again, it's
Right.
that Indiana Jones kind of races, you know, making foreign food look grotesque.
I do like that the animal can recognize the falafel sauce immediately.
Well, it's Butterball whose thing is food. That's his brand. We're back at the market. This Egyptian market square looks like the poster of Egypt that Marcus in The Last Crusade unwittingly walks into. It's like entirely one-dimensional. I don't think that was the Venice type line that they were going
Oh
for.
yeah, exactly.
Egypt, I've missed this place.
What?
Yeah, isn't it like actual grown-up filmmakers could learn a lot from how serious this movie takes its kind of storytelling perspective.
Yeah.
We never forget we're being told
You
a
made it
story by a
sound earlier
monkey.
like that story's going to change.
Yeah. This is what I mean. It turns into Rashomon for a bit.
Are these are these are the two stories going to converge?
No, but we get the sense that he's not exactly a reliable narrator as the movie goes on.
Okay.
Because he's a thieving little monkey.
Oh, I see.
It's interesting. Like, obviously, they spent a lot of money on the production design of this market. It's just like
Yeah.
everything in the foreground looks great. It's just everything in the background is like left
Yeah.
left to rot. I feel sorry for this guy trying to pad out the scene with like bad improv comedy. I don't know why we're hearing a spaghetti western harp. It's desert. It's all the same. Boing, 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 boing. I'm Arabic, therefore I am a thief.
Oh, man.
This is why we need the Arab Spring.
Look at the dynamite.
Mm-hmm. I know there's a much more sinister movie lurking in the shadows of this film.
Mm-hmm.
You'll see this
That dog
again and
about to
again.
eat some
Yeah, yeah.
C4.
And I guess because it's a buddies movie, you'll know it's be all right, but it's still a dog eating explosives. There's no fear that the dog will self-combust.
Right.
No, I'm from the valley. I believe she is. I looked her up because I thought she looked a tad pale for the role she's playing, but I think she's an Israeli actor. And her accent's good.
Mm-hmm.
The kids have obviously worked on their dialects.
Don't be giving away the secrets, kid.
Speaking of secrets, here's the piano teacher from The Man Who Wasn't There.
Mm-hmm.
Who is a mystery character. Out of context, this looks like a horror movie. Someone strapped a bunch of puppies with explosives. Like fucking Saw.
It seems like something Nicolas Cage would do in Face Off.
Yeah.
Wow.
Dog. It's a dog fart slapstick joke. And an explosion slapstick joke. There's a limit to what you can do with dog comedy. If you don't want to hurt the dog.
The writer of this movie thought to themselves, I got to get these dogs out of the crate somehow, but nobody should see them.
Well, that's craft.
Wow.
I know they're trying to make it.
This movie should not go with long shots.
I was just gonna say, like, it looks like, I know they're trying to make it look like it's a market square in the desert, but it looks like it's in space.
Looks like it's from
they use
Dune.
The background from Space Buddies. Yeah, because whether you're a dog or a person, girls love shopping. Again, I think it's like just because it's a dog doesn't mean you can do the broadest possible gender representation.
Right. What is that dog supposed to be into football?
No, he's into food. I don't know why he's wearing a football shirt.
Because he's also got the black eye, like the
yeah.
You know.
I guess because he's a football fan, he likes to snack as well.
All right.
I'm just guessing here.
Why are all these? Why are all the people? Why are all the vendors trying to sell things to dogs?
This movie takes real liberties with animal biology. That monkey grabs a chicken kebab off the grill as if he has asbestos paws.
Yeah.
A dog can eat explosives, and the only thing it does is give him bad gas.
Right.
And yet, Babby just said, "I saved them because a chicken kebab would be a choking hazard for a dog." It's like we're getting mixed messages on animal biology.
I got my broccoli fart. I got
Don't
my
try to
garlic fart, and then I got my C4 fart.
right. Don't try and educate me about how, animal gastrointestinal processes work when you've just done that. For some reason, it always looks like they're physically like off screen. Someone is physically holding down the monkey that plays Babby. Like he looks trapped in a way that the other animals in the movie don't. Like someone's like pulling the flesh in the back of his head.
Like they
not even a digital mouth.
They digitally removed a hand that was going like, stay still, stay still.
They're just putting like needles in parts of the brain that make his mouth like involuntarily move. They also just reintroduce themselves, which is a thing I've noticed in watching a lot of kids media. You have to reintroduce the main characters about every 10 minutes.
Oh God, my bling, you gots to be tripping. Whew.
Skylar.
2012, may I remind you.
You look at, you do the that's a kid in a recording. It's a white kid called Skylar in a recording studio.
Yeah.
Have to remind you every time. Muslim call to prayer. This is little cultural tidbits here and there.
Yeah.
It's not PBS Kids. It's not PBS Kids, but we gesture occasionally to education. Do you think that would happen now?
Oh, I hope not.
Do you think a white kid, like a white kid called Skylar, would be able to go into a studio and say that stuff?
I'd like to think that nobody should have to go to a studio and say that stuff.
Right. But if you're gonna do it, have it be a kid of color, right? Am I wrong?
Right.
2012 was another world of representation.
So now we're in the same place in both narratives.
That's true.
Okay.
It's pretty labyrinthine when you think about it. Someone wrote this out on like a.
Is this something that people do?
Huh?
Is this something that people do? They bring their camels indoors somewhere?
He was stolen. He was stolen by that Steven Seagal looking extra guy, which tells me that all the extras in the background are brown faced. So that's what that tells me. If they're not in focus, it's brown face.
Yeah.
It's so weird. Such a strange choice to have like a baby voice.
Right?
Like it's a young camel, I get it, but camels are huge. That's like having a baby voice for King Kong. It doesn't make sense. I wonder if they picked Labradors to lip sync because of that overhang they have. You essentially only have to move like this much.
Sort of just the bottom.
Yeah. And that Bloodhound, I mean, you barely have to do anything.
No, yeah, the Bloodhound. I noticed that earlier. I was like, oh, so the Bloodhound, you don't have to.
Do you know who that Bloodhound was? Very, very, very famous comedian. Not Ryan Stiles or Conor Mockery. Like legend status.
Well, see, I guess my problem is I see a Bloodhound, and even though it's not a direct correlation because he doesn't do the voice, but he's always with them. So I'm always going to think of Jerry Reed.
Do you want to know? Or...
I guess that's a hound dog. Yeah, go ahead.
Tim Conway. I believe he's a legacy character.
Okay. Well, he is royalty.
And this scene of the monkey eavesdropping on them looking at the artifact is straight out of Raiders. Speaking of straight out of Raiders, what do you think? What do you think they're going to use this tower for?
No.
Do you think Disney had to
Is there
buy
going to be a
the...
beam of light? Is that what you're saying?
That's not what I'm saying. That's what's happening.
Oh, wow.
I wonder if Disney had to buy the Indiana Jones franchise because of this movie. It's like, it's going to be so much legal trouble. It's cheaper just to buy the movies. But it's totally different because the light is blue.
Noted. I'm not any kind of genius, but I'd follow the light.
We could just follow that big beam of light wherever it
Yeah,
goes.
right?
Just literally look up and drive. And it's night.
Yeah.
So it's the only light in the desert. I'm glad I eavesdrop on that conversation. Now I can retell the story with authenticity.
With complete accuracy.
Do you think that, what was the name of the director? I can't remember the name of the director. Do you think he was like, guys, we've got to have the monkey in the scene or this movie doesn't make sense. We're going to blow our flashback structure. They're basically the A-team. Everyone has their little job. I'd love it if the next sequence was just like in the garage retrofitting the van. Dun, 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 dun. Now I'm a dog owner. I don't have a psychic connection with them.
I was gonna say.
I don't know if that's a thing. I mean, it has to be because there are two entirely divergent narrative threads. There's a human story in this movie and there's an animal story in the movie, and never the twain shall meet.
Never?
I mean, like right at the end. We don't overlap at all.
This kid is never going to figure out that the animals are with him in Egypt.
Eventually, but not in a way that
minute 135 of 136.
Yeah, more or less. Yeah.
All right.
It's like crimes and misdemeanors.
Okay.
In so many ways. It must be production based. It must be like they've got to be parallel storylines because we can't have humans in the animal scenes and vice versa. Must be. That camel spits flubber.
Wow.
More liberties with animal biology just to propel the plot forwards. Also, just because you've been spit in the face doesn't mean you're like on your back. Doesn't, unless he threw his back out. You can get up.
I think she kind of kicked him too.
Oh, she did?
Yeah, but
I hope so.
Not to an extent where they can just saunter out.
Now he's paralyzed.
Yeah.
So they say there's a much darker movie lurking in the shadows here. Bedouins. But which one am I?
Yeah,
Am I
right.
either? I'm a mystery character.
Wow.
Yeah. I think like direct to video Disney kids movie means you don't even try to match the foreground to the background. I think
No,
it's just
yeah.
like a lost cause. The backgrounds of I don't know if you've ever seen Honey We Shrunk Ourselves. There's literally no attempt to integrate the human actor into the environment they're in. They might as well be walking in like a in the middle in like space for all it matters.
Yeah.
To be fair, you're both idiots.
Yeah, right.
You're like Laurel and Hardy. Only one of you knows you're an idiot. It's the classic double act without the comedy. Telling me that truck is owned by those guys and they don't know how to put the hose back in. But Ursat's Indy does. Okay, everyone stop saying Oasis. I don't want to hear anyone say Oasis ever again.
I was gonna say,
I see it now. You don't need to say it anymore.
there's an oasis 10 miles away from the center city.
This is like reintroducing everybody.
Oh God. Think positive.
It's weird how some of these dogs have costumes and accessories and then some of them don't.
Right.
Are they just hoping that their voices and characters are so distinctive that we'll know which dog it is?
They've been walking for 12 hours.
Like I say,
Is that what I'm led to believe?
yeah, but they even had some dialogue speaking to the fact that the camel could camels can regurgitate their own food
Yeah.
and re-eat it, but dogs can't. So what it would be was like it would be by that logic it would be a camel and dog skeletons. Here we go, more anti-cat pro-dog revisionist history here. This time we rope in Cleopatra.
Good dog.
Such cat racism. The more you know.
The more you know. Ba-bum-bum-bum.
I've learned. What have I learned about? I've learned a lot about what an oasis is.
Have you?
Bedouin, the gastrointestinal system of camels.
Actually, Grandpa, it seems a little reckless you brought me along.
Yeah. I was like hoping for Yosemite, something like that, you know?
Right. Eight.
Yeah, one of the buddies, I can't remember what the name is the Zen buddy. He's like a yoga teacher version of a puppy. He's always there with his kind of Zen platitudes. Camels are so cool. How they stand. Wish I could get up that elegantly.
Yeah.
I can't. My knees don't do that anymore. Usually jealous of dystopias. Now I'm jealous of camels. It was the wrong choice to do shot reverse shot there. Just slowed everything down. Just keep those two kids in the same shot.
Yeah.
Don't trust anybody. But who am I?
Mm.
He said, don't trust that man who's clearly a villain. Now, I'd say that was like comicalizing Indiana Jones, but the series already did that with Last Crusade and Crystal Skull. So it's just Indiana Jones. Even that little musical beat,
right?
Do, 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 do. When anyone falls in Last Crusade. Do, 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 do. I really think the overall note was if the monkey doesn't see it, it doesn't make it in the movie.
It doesn't go, yeah, it does not go to the story.
It's just like it's like some kid's gonna write a bad review of this in a high
He
school
sends
paper.
the kid down first. You go first. Asps, very
I'm
dangerous.
too old for this shit.
You go first.
Literally. But not as old as the guy who actually does this shit.
We've got like 53 minutes left, and I have to
already in the two. Yeah, but this is like this.
I have to wonder why.
This is a like a pre-tomb. This is not the. This is the amuse-bouche.
Okay. You exclamation
I'm
point?
with you. I'm with you, Edward Herman. Let's move this along. But it's not here. We've got to go somewhere else.
Yeah, right.
To eat up those 53 minutes. They don't. The dogs and the camel don't even look like they're walking on ground.
Yeah, yeah, right.
Like walking on earth.
It looks like they were
hovering
in harnesses. It looks like they were put in harnesses and then just filmed walking on air.
I mean, there's got to be a beach somewhere in LA you could just let those dogs walk, right? And then add in the Add in the sky.
Add in your already excellent surrounding.
Yeah. This something sinister about the fact this monkey has such a dangerous looking knife.
I know.
And he's slashing tires like a juvenile delinquent from the 50s. I will lie about this later. Yeah.
Good thing we have
the
3
first
spare
hint we-
tires.
The first hint we get that Babby might not be a reliable narrator.
Yeah, right.
Apart from the fact that he's like told the story of things he had no knowledge or awareness of. This is all going on inside a monkey's mind. My guess is a mirage, knowing these desert movies. All things that would kill me if I ate them.
Yeah, right.
Because I'm not
Make
human.
sure to get those chocolate donuts.
Any grapes in there? How about rat poison? We're going to have to do like a desert movie bingo for this one. We've had the Mirage. We've had the Oasis.
We've had the Oasis.
What do you think's what's next on the grid?
Oh,
what do you say? Having not seen the film, I can't tell you because I know.
So we've had camels.
Camel skeletons. Skeletons in the desert, per se.
We've already had, though.
Yeah.
We just had.
Yeah. Stop fucking saying oasis. When I see the trees, I know it's an oasis because it's an oasis. I guess a kid doesn't know. But if they don't know by now, there's no hope for them education.
Right. They're screwed.
They're beyond help if they don't know what an oasis is by now. I guess also the assumption is
we got to have a dust storm coming, right?
Maybe. Oh, I'll never tell.
A sandstorm. We're going to see Thomas Hayden Church.
Now that would be great. He's too deadpan for a movie like this.
Yeah. Oh my God, a second car breaking down scene?
Yeah. This movie is it's like insecure about its narrative plot holes. It's like, we got to see the shot of them breaking down, otherwise they'd be there, and then the animals and humans would meet, and then our film is over. Bad dates. I had to say it.
I understand.
Unfortunately, well, we know that Babby doesn't die from poison dates at this point because he's the one telling us the
story.
Now Babby's telling a story within telling a story. This is a meta movie.
Oh, that dog is really grinding against my psyche.
It's just, yeah.
My sense of decency.
Bobby murdered the driver horribly.
Yeah, right? Exactly.
You don't hold a knife up like that and make and say mysterious things. That means you murdered someone. Bobby took care of it. Scorpion, that could have been on the list. That could have been
Yeah,
on the
that could be on the list. We haven't had the obligatory all sun shot yet with waves of heat.
I can't say for certain that doesn't happen. I've only seen this movie 1.5 times, which is more than most. I don't know. Dads, I bet. Dads' parents see this movie a lot, I imagine. But who is he? Ah, camel kiss.
Adorable.
Why are the camels in slow motion?
Yeah.
Butterball likes food.
That Butterball.
And that other one is all about yoga. Mala. That camel just said its name is Mala. I don't know if that's an intentional Star Wars holiday special reference or just a glorious irony. At least that animal speaks instead of grunting. Here we are. We've had the falafel. Now we're doing.
Oh my goodness, Skylar.
Skylar Gizmodo.
B-Dog.
Yeah.
Skylar as B-Dog.
Yeah.
Is in Licorice Pizza.
Oh. They're now Butterball's eating bugs. I mean,
wow.
Can you believe that thing that he was talking about in the museum actually came true? He had to eat
right.
bugs. But also, like, how are we still being racist about Eastern food? Temple of Doom was like 84, and that was about 3 decades too late. It's 2012, and we're still implying that, like, the home of some of the most delicious food in the world are just eating fucking bugs left and right.
Yeah, right.
Who does he play? I haven't seen the movie.
He plays one of the other child actors.
Oh.
Who develops a love interest for his love interest.
Sounds like another problematic movie. At last, confirmation that Wellington is a villain.
Right.
I finally got the smoking gun, him saying, I am a villain.
I'm going to do terrible things.
It was either that or mentioning that he dumped toxic waste. Incidentally, I was very happy to see that the Terry Silver's toxic waste past was mentioned in Cobra Kai.
Yeah.
No, there's nothing. He's clean apart from a toxic waste scandal. Speaking of broad villains.
Monkey Dude.
Monkey Do. That's not bad. At least he's not saying shizzle or tripping.
You got me there.
Oh, we got a hot air balloon.
Yeah. Where'd that come from?
Yeah, why do these bedouins have a hot air balloon? and other technology you don't expect them to have. They might not be what they seem. This is like a proto Facebook post. It's like, tell us who these people really are without telling us who these people really are.
I'd really like to hear a conversation between the human. Oh, there we go. There's at least one human wondering why the hot air balloon is leaving.
Yeah, hot air balloon fixed with a security camera, which they're remotely viewing on a laptop.
Of course.
At that point, they just come out and say who they are. I think they think it's breadcrumbs, but it's not breadcrumbs because it's just like, well, now I need to know who they are for that to make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like where you just were.
Right.
Yeah, where is anything? Good save.
Nice save.
Good save us, that's Indy. On Indiana Jones Minute, they call Fedora from Last Crusade, you know, the guy who gives him his hat. They called him the Lifetime movie Indiana Jones. So what is Richard Reel in the scheme of that? Like what
right?
kind of an Indiana, I guess Disney direct-to-video Indiana Jones.
Yeah, right.
Here we go, some monkey swashbuckling hijinks here.
Uh-oh.
They should have gone full Errol Flynn and have him split the balloon.
That's that's really what I thought was going to happen.
This is the moment that the American Humane Association intervened. Okay, you've done enough with that monkey. If you want our stamp on the end of this, you leave that monkey alone.
Oh, mercy. So many dead dogs.
Yeah. And then one of the dogs explodes because he's still got some of that plastic explosive in his gut. Bingo!
Yes.
Oh. So what
I've seen Hidalgo.
So what do you think? What else? What is to come? What can they do? You got your other prediction was all sun shot. So we're looking out for that. Anything else we should look out for?
Ooh, man. That was a pretty good effect for this movie.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Well, not so much there.
No.
I would have locked the door on them.
It's when you introduce people.
Yeah.
Again, it's a matching problem. The effects on their own are fine. The people on their own are fine. Put them together, travesty. Yeah, we're safe in this room of skeletons. Like, why have that? Like, that's very. I think that's too scary for this kind of movie. Having skeletons everywhere.
I was gonna say, are we looking for a mummy?
Well, we've already seen that. The treasure in the tomb.
Yeah. If it's a snake, I'm gonna say Styles.
Boy, Holmes, how do you do it? You know my methods, Watson. I watch a lot of Whose Line Is It Anyway? You know they have the marathons now on certain channels.
So he's still lying.
I tell you, he's Kaiser Sozeing this shit.
Wait, when did they leave their room?
I would love it if, like, you know, at the end of the movie, Babu just kind of like looks around the room and there's like a butterball turkey and and a muddy buddy candy, and he's like, "You made it all up."
Yeah, that sounds like Styles.
Correct. Bingo. It's
All right.
the other bingo card. There's just one grid on there. It's just one. It's just Ryan Styles.
Yeah, I think I've got 5 across.
And this is another moment where I was like, yeah, CGI snake is a CGI snake.
Mhm.
If you're in the the most expensive Hollywood movie or direct to DVD, it all looks the same. CGI snake is a CGI snake. Is a CGI snake.
Yep. Uh-oh.
Here we go. Beatbox. Let's charm this snake with some Zen beatbox.
Wow. A little again. This snake's getting a little sleepy.
There's a reason why one of them is, you know, a Buddhist, and the other one is a fan of rap. So all that could happen. And Drew Carey. Lots
Oh my gosh, are we going to see booby traps? Booby traps. I'm sorry, what? The fire-breathing cobra?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I'm going to watch Sharon Stone on my short circuit television from the movie Slither. All these early 90s references I have at my disposal.
Yeah, just at the quick.
Just The Fugitive, Slither. You see when I was renting movies, can't you?
See, this movie does not tell me at all how long they've been there.
No.
Because it feels like 10 minutes, but is it the next day?
Well, that's why we had a sandstorm, isn't it? It's like an indeterminate amount of time.
Yeah.
To keep them out, to stop them from seeing the dogs. That's the main narrative objective.
Yeah.
They must never, in this dog movie, the humans must never interact with dogs. This is just like the young Indiana Jones pilot. It's exactly what happens. To make dogs fart? Thomas Howard saying, that was another red flag that he had a truck full of explosives.
Right.
He was on the phone talking about toxic waste. This is why it has to be dogs. I'm surprised he didn't predict this.
Oh,
Seems like
little
classic
paw
desert.
button.
Quicksand.
Oh yeah,
I think
quicksand.
that's the last in the grid. I love that in this sequence is like a kind of bloodless version of the Alexandria Holy Grail booby traps. It's like people are being as badly mistreated as everyone is in that, and yet, but no one's getting really hurt. Didn't we already put this together?
Yeah, didn't it already unlock something else?
It's unlocked everything.
I thought that was going to go differently. I've gotten you here. Now let us go. I've gotten you here. Come along, Peter. We're going inside. Which, of course, you humans have no idea about.
Until later on when you can suddenly hear us talking. I gotta say, the stakes are much higher for the animals than the people in this movie. It's like they're just looking for a fortune or an artifact. These dogs are going to be cat slaves if this all goes wrong. They're going to be living under cat tyranny. Seriously, that's what the story is. If she gets this collar, she will, it'll be like
There'll
Nazi
be dominion
Germany
over
cats. Catsy Germany. There we go. It's going to be Catsy.
Catsy Germany.
Or if you will, the Purd Reich. Thank you. That's all from me. Good night.
We can turn it off now.
If you have not already done so. I swear that there are people probably just watching us. And it's like, you know what? I can figure out the movie from what they're saying.
For just what they're saying.
Where did Babby and Babu get those clearly American lollipops from?
Yeah.
That's a lot of jeopardy. Don't you think? For a kid dog movie.
I'm going to bounce.
For shizzle. At least he doesn't say for shizzle my nizzle.
Yeah.
Although I spent a lot of this movie with bated breath.
Waiting for it?
Yes. Because, if you're that far down the buddy's hole, stuff gets missed.
What are we doing here? Was that a Raiders thing?
You have to be
actually,
specific.
I guess Raiders and Crusade stepping on the right thing.
Oh yeah, this is pure Last Crusade. Yeah, the snakes make it Raiders. The squares make it Last Crusade. It's a holistic approach to the Indiana Jones franchise.
Yeah.
Kind of like Crystal Skull took something from everything except quality and storytelling and acting and direction.
Don't give away too much, Tom. All right, we're not there yet.
You'd be surprised how generous I feel about that movie. Nothing is off the cards. Like, no, I'm not gonna say. Do cockroaches eat people or animals? That's not a thing, is it?
What's that?
Cockroaches don't eat people and animals, do they?
Yeah, not that I know of.
No. Okay, that's fine. Just it's
They might burst out of your
lie.
neck.
Another lie about animal biology that this movie.
Yeah, they might burst out of your neck if you're E.G. Marshall.
I think I want to base my knowledge of animal biology on Creepshow. Creepshow 2, maybe. Was that Creepshow or Creepshow 2? Creepshow, right? That's what you want in your kids' movie, a human quicksand bridge. Fucking grotesque. They think this is like slapstick. It's not. It's body horror.
I like that he just participates.
Yeah. It's fun for a kid.
Yeah.
To treat this human being as if he's a fucking piece of furniture. Again, this is why we need the Arab Spring.
Yeah.
This was like a political cartoon. It would be like Edward Herman would have the word the Turkish government like written across his clothes. But you easily could have died.
Yeah, I was willing to sacrifice you. I want to make that clear, but I'm happy you made it. Oh, wow.
Was Superfly, is that something that people were saying in 2012?
No.
I'd love it if, like, later on, B-Dog just said, Freddy's dead. That's what I said. Sweetback's badass song. Is this movie too scary for what it's supposed to be? More cat demonization.
Now, did your son ever get scared?
Not that I remember.
Okay.
But I think this is just too much horror for what this is. And really, the other movies are far more lighthearted. Like, they don't have this kind of involved adventure story to them.
Oh.
How is this different from like Donovan in Last Crusade? Fucking letting those guys get beheaded. It's the same thing. Here we go. B-Dog's Feline Minstrelsy. Told you this is a racist movie.
Oh, wow.
It's all right for you to risk your life. This code hasn't been established before, right? He's just saying
Yeah.
random thing. Tree, chimp, friend, man, woman, camera,
Baked treat.
more.
Uh-oh.
Oh, I don't think the cats are gonna. You see, if cats were more biologically superior, they'd be able to
CGI.
roll. There you go. It's taken us 3 goes to see someone actually sinking in quicksand.
Yeah, I was gonna like
The rule of 3.
the cat sunk pretty easily there.
Wait a minute. How do the dogs know which ones to go to?
Well, that's what I was wondering earlier.
Do the cats have to be murdered? I know they're not kind of real, but
That's Lady Chew logic.
seems to relish like the demise of other animals, which seems to run counter to the animal-friendly tone of the movie.
Uh-oh. Or Slither. Stone cat.
Yeah, how's he gonna digest that? There's your mummy. That's Cleopatra's tomb, isn't it?
Well,
Or is it the cat's tomb?
yeah, because I think they call her.
Cleopatra.
Yeah.
It's like it's like cat stereotyping. I'm a cat, therefore I must want to chase a mouse. Cats are exactly what you think they are. Terrible.
Well done.
Okay, which dogs are all of you? I've forgotten which one's which. In that time I was a cat, you all look the same. And now I'm coughing up a hairball. Look at those disgusting cats with their disgusting personal habits, says an animal that licks its own dick. Uh-oh. That's what's important. That you don't lose a sense of your own self-esteem in your old age. Is that the prince symbol in the background? The symbol for the artist formerly known as Prince behind him. All 9 of them.
Is he starting to recognize that she's speaking?
That's the thing. Only in this scene. The humans are reacting as if
they just had a long shot with no humans.
I guess the collar elevates the power of speech to speech being understood by humans. But there are no in-world rules.
No, you got the shaft, cat.
Mm-hmm. How did all you dogs get in my tomb? Gold, it's gold, I tell you.
Gold in them there walls.
A man of roughly your age is gonna stop you with the same physical limitations as you. Here we go.
What?
Some good sword play. I like the sword slap on the ass too. It's a nice touch from Edward Herrmann. Again, I think like the latent threat of violence is supposed to be countered by the advanced age of the leads, but surely that means there's more chance of something going wrong and them getting hurt. The fact that these are two geriatric men going at swords.
Wow.
How much older is Richard Reel than Edward Herrmann?
Yeah, right?
Not enough for him to call him old man.
Hold, please. Peter!
Peter, I totally forgot you were here. I keep doing that. Why do I keep doing that?
So Edward Herrmann's older than Richard Reel.
Wow. To be fair, Richard Reel looks older. Not
By 5
significantly
years,
older for him to say old man.
1943 and 1948.
And Harrison Ford beats them all.
Yeah, right?
So I'm right in thinking that when we see Indy 5, Harrison Ford will be 15 years older than Richard Reel was in this movie.
Right.
That's
alarming.
If this were Indiana Jones Minute, there would be a sad bell right now. Boing. Best line in the movie coming up. Get this monkey off my back. Well played, Edward Herrmann. Well played. And then we get the camel
Nice.
flubber. But, you know, you can't have something like too smart without there being followed by camel flubber.
What?
We are currently trying to quash a protest in our country, but we are taking time to survey you. Were you expecting that turn of events?
No.
Is that the burgeoning Hollywood's burgeoning recognition of the Middle East as a
Yeah.
as an intelligence superpower? But we're having a bit of problem in our country right now.
Yeah.
So the money might take a while to get to you.
Yeah. Oh, we what?
Yeah. I'm not quite sure how they conveyed to me what they'd done on this adventure.
Yes.
in the 2 prequels to Treasure Buddies that we're going to make. He just said he wanted to go to an embassy. You can't just gloss over international human rights law like that. This is why we need the Arab Spring. Oh, I just remembered that museum was in trouble.
Wow. And he could have taken a handsome fee, to save the museum. Oh, I thought he was going to skip over the grandson.
That monkey, without whom we would not be here, because he's telling this story and making himself the hero. I like the fact that Richard Reel's in this movie, but he's cue card in it right now. He's not looking into that kid's eyes. He's looking beyond that child into a cue card. As is his right to do so.
Right.
In Treasure Buddies. We have put down the protest in our country and installed a military dictatorship. All is well.
Whoa. How about any dog?
Well, this is where it all gets a bit usual suspects. Uh-oh.
Oh, God.
Ha ha! You thought I was the hero. I'm actually the villain.
Wow. Turn you in.
And like that, he's gone. I got the necklace.
What the hell's going
on? Now the museum is bankrupt.
Wow.
That's a... He just ruined the ending to the movie. Oh. I gotta click to watch these credits.
Yeah. I mean,
Birds and
gotta do a
Animals
credit
Unlimited.
check.
You see that? Birds and Animals Unlimited? That makes me think that they kept killing the animals and had to keep going back and getting more. We've run out of monkeys. Again, I gave you one yesterday.
I mean, seriously.
Well, we
That was
stuck
something
needles
else
in its brain to make it talk. Here we go. Everyone's going to be reintroduced all over again. Because it's a piece of kids' media.
Wow. Yeah. Now I hear it. Wow.
Kids really need to know the names of things, names of people. I guess that's for like branding, merchandising.
Cammy the camel.
Can't believe this is the second watch along where we've heard like liberal rip-offs of John Williams's Steven Spielberg scores. This is Cruel Jaws all over again.
Right.
But the fact that they're doing it inside the Disney machine is kind of fascinating. You know, Bruno Mattei straight up stole the music. This is like a different kind of theft.
I think I figured out my mystery from Unforgiven. I think that guy was one of the kids pinned down when they shoot one of the people in the stomach.
Well, that was well worth it.
Yeah, thank you.
Really? That's Clint Eastwood? You separate those dogs. Separate those dogs from the humans.
Make sure they never come together now.
That's why they don't meet in the movie, because Clint Eastwood is pig farming them.
Trainee assistant directors. This movie was training people to be assistant directors.
You know, it's a, you know how they say it's a teaching hospital. This is a teaching movie. What did they go on to do though?
Overnight,
probably another buddies movie.
Overnight dubber. When dubbing just can't get done during the day.
I read it into the mic, I put it in the FedEx package, and it's gone. Guaranteed.
Oh, Western X working overtime in this movie with dogs' mouths. Yep. So how much money did Paul Tamassi and Aaron Mendelsohn get for?
But that's only the buddies, because it's Kevin DeCiccio. In fact, it's David Letterman who gets the real cash, because he created Air Bud.
Yeah.
So every movie they make, David Letterman's company gets must get royalties. Well, there we are.
Well, there you have it.
That was Treasure Buddies.
I'll say.
I'm kind of scared to ask. Was this a good or a bad movie?
Well, obviously it's a bad movie, but
how so?
On its own terms.
Right.
It's exactly what you would expect.
And it's a little. I think it's a little overachieving for what it is.
You mean in scope?
Yeah. Well, no. I mean, I think it does more than a lot of these movies do. Like, I don't remember the character acting being as good as having Edward Herrmann and.
Right.
You know, I think there's maybe a George Wendt in there somewhere, but that's as good as it gets in the rest of this series. I think there's a George Wendt Santa somewhere.
Okay.
Or maybe I'm thinking of
not even like lead role.
This seems like a higher standard of character actor.
Yeah. It's
usually like Seinfeld day players. They're usually the people leading, you know, the Soup Nazi and Puppy and those kind of people. No, I'm not sniffing at that. They're great. But that's more what it is. there's cute dogs to look at.
Sure.
I have a feeling this is less schmaltzy than the others, based, having sort of absorbed some of these movies by osmosis. I get the feeling that this is a little like it's more story led, less melodrama led. And there's the occasional sort of adult reference and like adventure movie quality, which is a bit more crossover than like, say, Santa Buddies or Space Buddies.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, in the overall scheme of things, yes, bad for the videographic quality, the bad comedy, and then there's the political stuff, the prejudice and misrepresentation on every level. I don't think this movie sends out very good messages to kids. And it has these sinister qualities lurking in the shadows that also make it leave a bad taste in the mouth.
All right.
So yeah, I think I
can't disagree.
But I think
it's one of those movies you want to call harmless, but it's not.
No.
So
no. It's I think just by sort of theming itself as an Indiana Jones style adventure, it becomes more adult, but also you start to get into slightly less harmless areas of like cultural representation and violence and morality.
Sure.
That that Snow Buddies doesn't have, for example, doesn't have to contend with. It's just a movie about getting through the snow, as opposed to like finding a cultural artifact in a tomb in the desert.
Right.
What was your revelation there?
No, I was just looking at other movies by the director, and you're seeing some John Ratzenberger as a voice, and I caught a Jonathan Mangum as a voice, so clearly they went to the Who's line well several times.
I thought Ryan Stein. I mean, it would have involved brownface, so that's not good. But at this point,
Diedrich Bader is in a couple of them.
Well,
that guy.
It's a shame they're not in as a double. They should have been Tariq and the other guy in this one. But of course, that would involve brownface.
Yeah, he's got his personal paws on a few of this guy's movies. So
his paws.
Yeah.
You're adopting the lingo already.
I know. Snow Buddies.
No, Snow Buddies is better than No Buddies.
Ooh, Jim Belushi and Snow Buddies.
You missed my Jack Frost there.
Oh, what'd you say? Sorry.
Snow Buddies is better than No Buddies. A little tidbit, a little bit of trivia I want to run by you. I let it slip at the beginning, but I wanted to save it for the end to see if it changed your mind at all. So the animals didn't talk until Air Buddies.
Oh, is that right?
So in the Air Buds
yeah, because I remember
there's no talking dogs.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I mean, that's if you think about like it all being in the same series, then I mean that's one of
strange.
The biggest representational turns. I mean, that's like going from live action to animation, basically, isn't it? Like, it's that kind of
right.
It's as drastic. And again, I saw that when I was looking this movie up, and I thought, wow, like you really can't just like follow this like a regular series.
Mm-hmm.
You have to change. You have to sort of completely change your mode of viewing midway through the series. Less than midway through the series. It's like, okay, this is a movie about a talking dog now, as opposed to a movie in which a dog is a character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, you might say that's not, it's not like we started out with Lars von Trier, but I don't know why that just jumped into my mind. And now I'm thinking about it, that's the worst possible example because there's a talking crow in Antichrist. So forget that analogy. This is the Lars von Trier part of the franchise.
Oh man.
But have we seen a concept on the podcast that's been stretched as thinly as this?
No, yeah,
Anything that's been franchised quite this much in this way?
no. Yeah, I mean, well, let me put it to you this way, or ask you rather. No, I think that's too easy in a question. Like,
It's not. This isn't a game show. You can ask me. You don't have to be hard questions. I'm not going to win anything.
How do I want to frame it?
Everyone loses.
Between this clear. And Cruel Jaws.
Oh yeah.
So
that's good. No, that's a good analogy.
Is it? But what's the right question? Like, which one's the better made, or which one's the more enjoyable? Because the enjoyable, to me, that's too easy a question, isn't it?
Yeah. Which is a better like unofficial remake of of a Spielberg movie.
Yeah.
I give it to Cruel Jaws is a more inventive take, that's for sure.
Yeah.
This is shot for shot sometimes. Of Raiders of the Lost Ark and The Last Crusade. Which is, it's strange because I think that's what really struck me the first time I half watched this movie. Was that, like, noticing as it started that they were going to town on the India. I was like, they're leeching off the branding. But as the movie went, I went, no, it's content and style. It's everything. It's full on Indiana Jones,
right?
Which takes it on a whole another level. I don't think that is the case with the other Buddies movies. I don't think it's like, like Santa Buddies is not Miracle on 34th Street, or like this. Yeah. This is like they've lifted story, characters, types, everything. And it just kind of
the Snow Buddies take after Snow Dogs. Isn't there a Cuba Gooding Jr.? Or wait,
does he only do movies that are cold? Isn't he also in didn't you do an ice cream truck heist movie?
Don't. Yeah. Just listen to the How Dare You podcast, sir.
Yeah, I know. I've heard it, but what's the movie called? I've forgotten what it's called.
Chill Factor.
Right, Chill Factor, and he's also in a movie
Chill Factor is
and
Speed.
Of course, Jerry Maguire.
it's the ice cream truck version of Speed.
Okay. Maybe he likes cold temperatures. What can I say? He's the best cold temperature actor out there. So yeah,
but Paul. Maybe I'm thinking of because Paul Walker maybe did Snow Dogs. There's a Snow Dogs, and then there's something else.
You could literally tell me Cuba Gooding Jr. was in any movie, and I will believe you. I don't think that man has an agent, which is ironic given given how agent-centric a movie is. Jeremy, you think it would give him some ideas to get an agent, right?
All right, so I do see Cuba Gooding in Snow Dogs.
Better. I guarantee you, Snow Dogs is not better than No Dogs. Yeah, it's really weird because with this movie, I kind of go back.
8 Below is the Paul Walker.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was too cold for. He likes things. Cuba Gooding Jr. likes things chilly, but 8 Below is.
But 8 Below, too much.
Can't deal with it. Because I go back and forth between thinking, it's like Well, did this did this movie? Oh, and I wanted to mention length as well. Like
Oh,
this is over 90 minutes. Um,
too long.
too long. But also, isn't that also? I'm surprised these movies are as successful as they are because kids can't watch movies that long,
Hmm.
and adults can't watch kids movies for that long. So who's
Yeah, right.
making it to the end of these movies?
Yeah.
It's just crazy. And
In this one, it's as though somebody at the beginning of the process said, "Don't worry, they'll watch it over 2 days."
that's true. I mean, that's it's there's a I realized like watching this a couple of times, there's the assumption that yeah, you won't watch it all at once. That you watch it in separate sittings. And
Mhm.
also that you're only ever gonna half watch it.
Yeah, right.
So all of that is baked in to the which is sort of why it's part of why all the characters are reintroduced every 10 minutes. Is because
Mhm.
it's literally like I was like, I didn't see the first one. I got to catch the next. I got to
Including
catch
the
the
end
next
of the movie.
reintroduction. But I don't know this. I mean, it sits this. I don't. I think this is more interesting than the other movies just because of the subject matter and the filmic references they're using.
Mhm.
It doesn't really. It's not quite suitable for children, but it's not quite enough crossover to be suitable for adults. So it sits in this
Right. Yeah.
really kind of unwieldy area of filmmaking where you're like, who is this supposed to
What?
please?
Who's supposed? Yeah, exactly.
Um,
Who do you imagine
right.
is loving this?
But it might be the only Indiana Jones we're gonna get
A
for some
while,
time or ever,
for all we know.
unless we have Digi Harrison Ford.
Yeah, well, I would. That's the other thing. I mean, when you hear him speak, like just the question as to whether or not Shia LaBeouf will like pick up his mantle. You ever seen those questions? Like from a reporter, he
Oh,
goes,
he's
"Hey,
not
hey,
involved
hey,
in this
hey,
movie though.
I'm Indiana Jones." Like the idea that if they were to recast, start over, reboot,
Oh, they're not. No, I don't think they're gonna do that.
they're gonna have to wait until he dies
Oh, yeah, I don't think that.
because
I
it will
don't.
be over his dead body.
Yeah, because he actually cares about the character.
Yeah.
That's the weird part of it all. Like he was ready. He had no problems letting Solo go.
Mm-hmm.
His like, he was only ever half in of
Yeah.
those movies. But Indiana Jones, I mean, it's literally like he made Crystal Skull happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like Spielberg and Lucas were willing to walk away, but he made them do it.
And they were right.
Yeah, but you think they'd raise their game anyway.
We'll get there someday.
We'll get there someday. But that's the sort of the fascinating thing is like his refusal to retire even at 79 from this guy. And I even had the thought the other day, speaking of young Indiana Jones and how much this reminds me of that, how much Treasure Buddies reminded me of that in a good 5-10 years they can redo the opening of the Indiana Jones episodes with the 91-year-old Indiana Jones with Harrison Ford.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be a great way to sort of re-release the series. It's the same episode, except it begins with 91-year-old Harrison Ford as this cantankerous old, Indiana Jones. That would be a great option for them.
That would be a delight
if he doesn't die in a plane crash. Which,
if he can,
which if he does, we're now responsible for because we put it out there into the universe.
I don't think we could be held responsible.
Of course, you can be held. Of course, we would be held responsible.
No,
well, I'd carry it around. I would absolutely.
He's crashing too many planes to expect people not to speak publicly or not publicly about him crashing planes.
Well, I and Jim O'Kane will, I'm sure, feel very guilty if that is indeed how he goes, unless he decides that's how he wants to go out, which is also a possibility.
Just a question of how many he wants to take with him.
True.
Oh goodness, I don't know. I mean, do you have any further questions for me?
Do you have any answers? Is there anything?
No, not really.
No, anything more to
I
say
have to
about?
admit, like, more than anything, it was a fairly tedious movie. It's pretty boring.
You think so?
Yeah,
Interesting.
found myself
Tedious is not one
glazing
of the
over.
adjectives I would. Maybe it's. I mean, there is a I am in a part of my life where I see a lot of these kind of movies now.
I was gonna say,
This is my baseline.
Right.
And I probably learned to appreciate them on a level that.
What other choice do you have?
Right. Well, yeah, I know. Like learn to.
Otherwise,
like,
you would have a miserable life.
Because,
you're just because otherwise you're just waiting until your child gets to an age where you don't have to indulge these kinds of movies.
I mean, overall, I'm very much enjoying it. Like some of the best movies I saw last year were kid movies or family friendly movies. Like there was even a period where I resented going to grown up movies.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh well, I mean, it's like I could go and watch the latest franchise based shit, or I could see an interesting kids movie like Ron's Gone Wrong or something. Or I mean, there are limits. There's always going to be like an Addams Family in there.
Yeah.
But even the Paw Patrol movie, I was like, it's not the worst way to spend an afternoon. You think it would be, but it really isn't. And it's more offensive when it's something I'm looking forward to that disappoints.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of that last year. But when you have zero expectations, some of these movies can surprise you.
I can't say this one did that for me.
No, I'm not. No, absolutely not. No, but yeah, I probably lowered my guard a little bit to this kind of movie. And I wouldn't, and I haven't talked about this. I'm a mad dog person. I'm a mad animal person.
Yeah,
which is why I don't like the anti-cat propaganda in this. But I certainly like I like seeing all the and Labradors is one of my favorite breeds. So
sure,
it's like in relative terms of compensation, seeing a lot of fluffy Labrador puppies on screen.
Yeah, I got no problem with that.
Helps, at least.
Sure.
I mean, I don't know what the alternative is. I like a bunch of frogs. I don't know if that movie exists, but I might not enjoy quite so.
There is an old horror movie, Frogs, with Sam Elliott, I believe. Early Sam Elliott. 69, 70, 71.
Do the frogs talk?
No.
Or did they talk?
It's like it was like
did they not talk at the beginning of the franchise, and then halfway through they started talking?
It was like in the era with the Swarm and that sort of thing. So I was capitalizing on that.
Just going through the zoo.
Just going exactly. It was just going through the middle school aquariums around the outside of the room. Like, what else could we turn into something murderous?
Okay, final question.
Yeah.
To wrap this all up in a neat little bow. Okay, let's pitch your buddies.
Oh,
you don't have to do the story. Just literally, just what are you putting in front of buddies? You don't have to think of what it is. You just have to. I'm literally just asking you what is in front of buddies. What have they yet to do?
Well, since they pilfered from from since they built for
Blade Runner buddies.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say Jedi buddies.
Shark buddies.
Yeah.
Could do shark like a shark movie. Oh, that would just be Cruel Jaws, wouldn't it?
Plus
That'd
dogs.
be no more or less ridiculous than Cruel Jaws.
Plus dogs.
I don't. Yeah. I guess.
Or you go in another direction and just say, buddies, the flying killers. And
That's very good.
Yeah, turn all your dogs into.
If you were gonna do a wet, I think they're screaming out for a Western.
Oh yeah.
But what would you call it?
The Magnificent Buddies.
The Magnificent Buddies. There we go. Little yeah, how many? Well, there's 5 of them. So you'd have to get two more.
You'd have to get 2. Yeah, you'd have to get 2 more buddies.
But then what? They would be like Western themed dogs. Like
yeah, I was gonna say they'd be like buddies that they pick up on the way to town.
Mm-hmm. And there's a chance to offend some Native Americans in there, so it's a win-win.
Of course, yes. I mean, it's Hollywood.
And they could probably reuse those desert shots as well. I mean, really not much. Really, they're not specific enough not to use. That's it. Okay, that's all right. So, the Magnificent Buddies, or
the Magnificent Buddies, I'm going to go with
Range Buddies.
Range Buddies.
City Buddy Slickers.
City Buddy Slickers. I like the sandwich aspect of that title.
You could even have the animated title sequence pretty much as it is.
Right.
So it's no more. It's like, wait, am I watching a fucking kids movie? What's going on?
Oh, all right, everybody. Thank you for, I don't know how to describe it, enduring this. I hope
if indeed you did.
Yeah, I hope we were able
any part
to
you played in this.
Hold hands firmly enough to keep you interested in Treasure Buddies, the beloved 2012 film. Yeah, just a decade ago, everyone. So if you have something to add, by all means, find us on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. Send that email to everythingsequel@gmail.com. For Tom Stewart of Lonesome Whistle Productions, Michael Shantz here of the How Dare You Awards. Say goodbye, Tom.
Ain't no one gonna rule the bee dog. No way, no how. That's for shizzle.
That's it. We're done.
That's it. Podcast's over, everyone.
Done.